about something that I think everybody probably loves, money. Or maybe you're not. Maybe you are like, I stay away from money. But most of you guys probably like to save money, right, and buy things. Raise your hand if you like to save money and do stuff with it. I'm seeing some raised hands. If you like to save money, raise your hand. Great. It seems like a lot of you are already on your way to having good foundations when it comes to holding on to your money, and saving money is a big part of managing it wisely. We're also going to be talking about spending and how you can spend better. So A Kid's Guide to Smart Money is basically all about money, how we can keep it, how we can use it more wisely, and lots of also fun, kind of interesting ways to save money in other ways. So if you're wondering why a 13-year-old is talking to you about smart money, my name's Adora Sweetalk, and I'm not really from like a math background. I actually, my first book is called Flying Fingers, Master Tools of Learning Through the Joy of Writing. So I've published 2 books actually now. Dancing Fingers is my second, and it's a poetry book. So you might wonder why I would be talking about smart money when I'm obviously a writer. But money, I think, is one of the things which has allowed me to do a lot because I travel around and I talk to people, and a lot of kids want to know, are you rich? And that's a question I always get asked, and unfortunately I can't say yes to that. I'm not very rich, but I do try to save my money wisely. So I just thought I would put it into a presentation and talk to you guys about what are some of the things that you do. Oops. That's odd. Oh dear, that's really strange. It seems like our presentation has some issues. One second, let me close it and try reopening it. Okay. I might have to go into my email to grab it. Well, while we're waiting, let me ask you a question. What are some of the ways that you get money and save money?
We can save money by like when we want to buy something, we can put it in our big piggy bank or a box or a cup. We can save it and put it in anywhere safe.
Very good. Yeah, if you have, let's say that you collect coins. So maybe you find coins lying around, you find pennies on the ground, or maybe when people put clothes in the laundry, sometimes if they forget to take coins out of their pocket, and maybe you ask them if it's okay to take those. So let's say you collect coins, you just find them everywhere. That's something that I like to do. Now, coins, maybe if you only have about $1 or $2 in coins, you might think, well, I'm not going to put it into a bank account. So for the meanwhile, you might put those coins into like a jar or a little, any kind of container. If you start getting more money, like let's say $50 or even $100 in bills and coins, and your relatives come to give you money on your birthday or maybe during holidays, then maybe you want to start thinking about, I'm going to put it in a bank account and I'm going to set up a savings account. So yeah, there's lots of different ways to save money and lots of different places to do it. Now, what do you use your money for?
Social studies, Michael. We use money to buy everything we need, like clothes and shelter.
Very good. Yeah, we use money to buy our necessities, or everything that we need: clothes, shelter, food. And so definitely it would be very hard to live without money. And we're very lucky that in the United States there's support, so that if people don't have enough money, then there's some places where you might be able to get food or shelter. But it's still very difficult to live without money and not be able to buy the everyday things that you need. So I'm going to try to open this up, my presentation again. Now, where do you think money goes? So, and where does it come from? I'm sorry?
In the bank.
In the bank? Yeah, definitely. A lot of money. Yeah, you put it in savings, and then banks might circulate it in other ways by giving loans to people. And so yeah, a lot of money circulates through banks, but also, let's say when you have money, your relative gives you $40, gift for your birthday, and you decide, okay, I'm going to spend this $40 to buy, what might you buy with $40?
We could buy something that costs less than $40, like gum.
Okay, so you could spend like maybe a couple bucks on buying lots of gum and then save the rest of it. That wouldn't be a bad idea. So you could maybe you could look and see, what's the best price for gum. They might have a really small packet of gum that kind of costs a lot of money. They might have this giant packet of gum, so you get the giant packet of gum and maybe you share some with your friends and you put the rest of your money in savings. That wouldn't be a bad idea. So, now that my presentation is loaded, I want to share with you money. I looked it up, and this seems like a weird thing to do because we all know what money is, right? But money, according to the definition, is a form of coin or paper money, so bills or coins, wages or salary, the official currency of a country, or coins or bills used to pay for goods and services. So these three I want to go through. So wages and salary, what's that?
Wages.
Income? Great. So how do people get wages and salary?
In the bank?
No.
Think about, now, what if, okay, so let's say, for instance, okay, so think about someone that you know, an adult, who does some kind of work. So it could be your parents, it could be a relative, it could be a family friend, and they probably get paid for the work that they do. So for instance, if you know someone who works at a grocery store, then they're getting their income or their wages and salary from working at the grocery store. If you know someone who works fixing computers, then that's where they get their wages or their salary or their income. So anytime someone does some kind of work for payment, that would be their wages or salary. It comes out of the work that they're doing. So income might come from what you do for work, and so a lot of times when you think of the breadwinners of the family, they're the people who are bringing in income. Now, the official currency of a country. What about the official currency of a country? Has anyone ever been to another country before? Raise your hand if you've ever been to another country outside the US. I see a couple raised hands, so a few of you. Now, what was the currency of the country that you visited?
What in the Dominican Republic? What is the money, Joseph?
In the Dominican Republic, the money looks different from here.
Yeah, it does. So they have different currency. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Pesos, that's over there.
In Santo Domingo, they use pesos.
Okay, pesos, great. Are there any other kinds of money that people know about from other countries?
Anybody?
Okay.
No?
Let's.
What country?
Why don't we take? Excuse me. Sorry. Why don't we play a short game then? Oops. Let me go over here. And let's take a look at some foreign kinds of money. And I want you to guess what country they come from. Are you able to see clearly, or should I zoom in a bit?
Yes.
Okay, let me zoom in then. All right. Let's start with. Okay. How about this one? Can anyone tell what country this comes from?
Do you know what country this is?
United States?
Not quite.
Oh, that's Mexico, I think. Mexico?
Mexico, very good. So if we look at it, we can tell mostly because it says right here at the top, Banco de Mexico, or Mexico. And so, yeah, actually this was, and I went to Mexico last December, so that was fun. But definitely, when you go to another country, sometimes it can be confusing because let's say you could maybe buy like a bicycle in the United States, if you had, I don't know, $70, $100, that would buy maybe a really fancy bicycle or some kind of nice thing. If you have 100 pesos, it might be completely different. I don't remember exactly what the exchange rate was, but I do remember that definitely going to lots of different countries, I would get very confused about what the currency was worth in comparison to dollars. Okay, let's try maybe 2 more. Just quickly over here. What do you think about this one? This one's kind of old, but I think it's still. Anyone want to guess what this one is?
Great Britain.
Great Britain, very good. And again, you can tell because it says Bank of England, although this font is definitely harder to read, but it also has a picture of Queen Elizabeth over there. So you can really go on kind of a worldwide journey just by looking at pictures of money from all these different countries and asking, why does Mexico have this person, and why does England have this person, and why does China have this person, and why does Egypt have this person? Just by asking questions about who's on the money. And a lot of times, whoever's on the money is someone who's very respected in that country. So like in the U.S., who are some of the people on our dollar bills?
George Washington.
When we think of our coins and when we think of our dollar bills, we see a lot of presidents. We see people like George Washington, and we see also lots of people who aren't presidents. Does anyone want to tell me who are some people on bills or coins, either on this line, who aren't presidents?
Can you repeat the question again?
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Sure. This is sort of a hard one. Does anyone want to tell me someone on a bill or a coin from the U.S. who's not a president?
You got it there.
Kind of difficult, right? Well, think of maybe Ben Franklin. Yeah, very good. So you can learn a lot about a country just from looking at their money, and that shows how important money can be. So let's take a look quickly at this money chain, and it's very simple. This doesn't include, yes? I'm sorry?
No.
Oh, sorry, it was background noise. So it's very simple. It doesn't include like investing or taxes, but it does start with a service or a job. So let's say that you decide to mow your neighbor's lawn. So your neighbor gives you $2 for mowing their lawn. So that would be your salary. You got it from doing a job. Now you could decide right here, you could either save it or you could spend it. And if you decide to save it, maybe you'd be saving it for some really big ticket items or some very expensive things. Things like going to college or paying for your schooling or for summer camp or something like that. Or you might save it even for someday buying a house when you grow up. So you can save your money. Even, let's say, when you get $2 for mowing a neighbor's lawn, or when your relatives give you $12 for your birthday, or something like that, you can decide to save it and save it for some really big things. Or you could decide to spend it, and we talked about how you spend your money. So you might spend it on another service or a job. So you might say, I will pay you to clean my room for me. So you might pay your friend $2 to clean your room, taking the $2 that you got by mowing someone else's lawn. So you could get another service or a job, you could pay someone to do something for you, or you could buy a good. So the difference between a good and a service, does anyone know that? It's a little tricky, but just look at the image here. So a service or a job would be mowing the lawn or cleaning someone's room, and a good would be something like a chocolate rabbit or a loaf of bread. What do you think is the difference between a good and a service?
What's the difference between a service? Goods and providing a service? We have learned in social studies. You can tell the difference between someone who needs goods and someone who provides a service. Remember, we looked at our police, officers, teachers, librarians. You can tell the difference.
So let's take a look at this. This is a hat. Okay, so it's a hat. Now, Do you think this is a good or a service? Raise your hand if you think a hat is a service.
Do you think it's a service or it's good?
Raise your hand if you think a hat is a good.
If you think it's good.
Okay, I see a lot of raised hands. Now, why do you think this hat is a good? And what makes it different from a service?
It's different from a service because if it would be a service, it would be someone helping us, but since it's nobody can have a service, it's a good.
Yeah, exactly. So a service is something that you do for someone else. So, for instance, mowing someone's lawn or cleaning their room or cutting their hair would be a service. But a hat is not a service, it's a good. It's something that you would sell, not a service. So when we think about goods and services, then it lets us see where money comes from. So you might get money from doing other services or selling goods. So, I'm sorry? Oh, okay. There's quite a lot of background noise, it's a little hard to tell. Do you know anyone who provides a service? So can you think of anyone who provides a service?
Oh, please?
A priest? Very good. What else? Or who else?
A teacher?
A teacher? Yes, very good. What else? Who else?
A librarian?
A librarian? Very good. So we know that there are many people who make their livings by providing services. They do things for other people. So a teacher teaches, a priest would preach, and a librarian would organize books and help you find things in a library. So doing services allows you to collect wages or salary or income. So here's a list of goods. So a loaf of bread, chocolate rabbit, diamond ring, pencil and pen. These are all goods, things that you might buy at the store. Now services, on the other hand, would be things like lawn mowing, car washing, babysitting, barbering. So you might look at this list and think, well, since most goods and services are provided by adults, are kids left out? What do you think? Are kids kind of left out of this? Maybe, let me ask it a different way. Do you think that you can do some of these things? Maybe not now, but maybe in a couple years. Do you think that you could do some services as well, like mowing lawns or doing chores for other people?
Do you think you could help other people? Maybe doing good? Say yes.
So it's not just all about adults making money. You too, you can help out around the house, not only your own house. Maybe you can ask people if you see a neighbor and their lawn is getting kind of messy, then you can ask them, do you need help mowing your lawn? I'd be happy to do it. And so you might want to start out offering some of these services for free, and then you might even have your own little business of mowing people's lawns or washing cars or selling snacks. Whatever you want to do, you could do it on weekends. So when you, it's not all about what adults are doing. A lot of kids do lots of things like selling lemonade and stuff like that to make money. So kids can make small amounts of money by helping around the house or getting allowance. So do any of you get allowance?
Do any of you get allowance, meaning money from your parents? If you do, raise your hand if you get an allowance.
Okay, so some of you do get allowance. My sister and I never got allowance. We always complained about it, but basically what my parents did was they would just deposit money into our bank account instead of giving it to us, usually. So for those of you who get allowance, you have to make choices about how you're going to spend or save the money. Am I going to put it in a bank account? Am I going to put it in a piggy bank? Am I going to spend it on getting some gum? All these choices like that. And you can also make money in other ways, like getting a job, for instance, of some kind. And then I also asked, what can money do? So money can buy goods, like loaves of bread, and services like lawn mowing. And you can do lots of things with money. So have you ever heard the saying, money is power? Raise your hand if you've ever heard money is power. Okay.
Anyone ever hear the saying?
Money is power is basically saying, well, money gives you a whole lot of power to do pretty much anything. But maybe that's not entirely true, because if you look at it, then money can't really buy you love Your parents would love you even if you were poor or rich, I'm sure. So money can do a lot of things, but it can't do everything. And that's good to keep in mind so that you don't think, oh, I only want to make money. But you want to make money and help other people as well. So it's important to learn how to make money, but it's equally important to learn how to save it, because if you just make a ton of money but then you spend all of your money, then you'll still be as poor at the end as ever. So what are some things that you do to save? We talked about you put in piggy banks, but more specifically, has anyone ever had a time when they're thinking about buying something but they decide, no, I'm going to save it? What are some things that you do to save your money?
What do you do to save your money besides putting them in a piggy bank? It's okay. Well, what can you do? Angela, tell her.
We could save the money for later in the bank and the saving bank, and then when they come back to people, they could get it back and they have more money to buy the stuff they want.
Okay. So do any of you, as far as saving money, do any of you look at coupons? Do any of you try to cut coupons?
Oh, or maybe mom and dad, they go to the market. Do they give coupons?
I see.
Tell Andrea. Andrea, who cuts coupons at home? Tell her. Say it louder.
I'm sorry?
She said her mom cuts coupons and gets coupons when she goes to the market.
Okay, so your mom might get coupons. For those of you whose parents look at coupons, or maybe even you look at coupons when they come, that's a great way to save money. So that's number one. As far as this is a list of some different ways that you can save money. So looking at coupons is one. Another thing is when something new and really brand new comes out, you wait until prices drop to get it. So for instance, if a movie has just come out, the ticket prices might be more expensive, so waiting to get the movie on DVD to watch with your family or friends would save you money. So if you go to a movie theater, maybe a ticket will cost you $7. That's what it costs near me. Is if you want to go to a movie theater, it costs $7. And if I wait to get it on DVD, then maybe I would pay like $3 for the DVD, and then I could have like 10 people watch it if I wanted. So it's definitely a whole lot better. Don't always buy things in season. So if you want to buy a swimsuit, you might try buying it right after summer is over, because they're trying to get rid of all these swimsuits that no one wants to buy during fall and winter, so it might be cheaper. Or if you want to buy a Halloween costume, try buying it right after Halloween, when they want to get rid of all these costumes, which won't really be useful to them for another year. So it can be fun to try to get gifts for people after Christmas, because there's lots of clearance and things like that. So kind of hold in your urges to get the newest thing or the coolest thing, maybe until the prices drop some. Recycle, reuse, reduce. So maybe you've done back to school shopping and you want to buy lots of new pencils and binders. I'm sorry?
No, we were learning yesterday, as a matter of fact, a project with recycle, reuse, and reduce.
Really? Great. So does anyone want to tell me about what you guys learned and what you guys did?
We were talking about, tell her.
We were talking about Earth Day and how we could clean our earth and keep it clean.
And how we can use things again.
How we could use things again, and what things can be released and how we could do it and
Great. So definitely, you guys probably know all about why it's so important to recycle, reuse, and reduce, because not only does it help save money, but it also helps save a lot of trees and save a lot of resources, because when you think about it, let's say you're buying an all-new binder and you're buying 5 new notebooks because they just look so beautiful. But in a notebook, think of all the trees that go into the paper, or for a binder, think of all the materials that have to go into that. And so when you use your older brother or sister's old binder, or when you find when you look at your notebook and you realize you've only written 1 page in it, then you can do a lot to save the environment as well as save money. So it's going green in both ways, as far as the green of money and the green of saving the earth. So reusing things when you can is an excellent way to save money. Another thing, and this one is a little bit iffy because it depends, sometimes you'll end up getting a lot of spam mail, as in if you sign up, so sometimes stores will have a customer incentive program. So does anyone want to guess what a customer incentive program is? I know that's a kind of big phrase. Okay, well, basically a customer incentive program is something that rewards you for how much you buy at a store or how many times you go to a store. So let's say I really like to shop for books, which is true. So and my local bookstore or my nearby bookstore might be Borders. So I might sign up for Borders Rewards, and then I get maybe some money back for my 5th book purchase. This makes sense mostly if you go to one store or one shop a lot. It doesn't make so much sense if you only go there once a year. There are also some things sometimes for kids, like kids get a free cookie or kids can get free this or that at certain stores. So do you know of any restaurants that have like kids eat free days or kids under a certain age get a discount, that sort of thing? Raise your hand if you know of any restaurants that have.
Any restaurants that you might know that kids eat free, or there's one day that they charge less for kids?
I see, yeah, you probably have some restaurants nearby that do that. And so this can be kind of cool if you want to take advantage of, while you're young, you might as well take advantage of. I'm sort of sad about this because now that I'm 13, I can't get a lot of the stuff that's like 12 and under, 10 and under. So you should definitely take advantage of free days or discount days, something like that when you can. If you're deciding to go to a restaurant anyway, then you might as well find out.
I'm sorry for asking, where do you live?
I'm in Redmond, Washington State, near Seattle. So.
Oh, okay. She's all the way on the West Coast, boys and girls. Oh. Okay, just wondering.
Yes. And where are you guys?
We are in New Jersey. We're all the way on the east.
Oh, great. Okay, so it's getting pretty late for you guys then, right? It's close to the afternoon now.
Well, yes, it's almost 2 o'clock.
Okay.
And for you guys, then it would be 11?
Yes.
They're 3 hours behind us. I'll show you on the map where she is. Okay, so you're just before lunch.
Yes. It is pretty cool that we're able to connect over this way. Yeah, in case you're wondering where I am, that's Redmond, Washington State, near Seattle. So I'm on the West Coast, and it's really cool because I actually do a lot of connections with schools in New Jersey and New York, and lots of different states. So it's really nice to be able to connect like this. And actually, it's funny.
Yes, definitely.
But it's really funny that you should bring this up because this next one was. The question I was asking was, wouldn't it be fun to imagine that your skirt was once worn by someone across the country, across the world? And the reason I was asking this question is because another way to save money would be shopping at secondhand or thrift stores for clothes and books. So this all ties into this idea of, reusing what you can, because we have so many clothes. Like recently I was doing spring cleaning and I had this big box of clothes, and some of them I've only worn maybe 4 times, 5 times. In my life, even though I've had them for a couple of years. So look at when you are doing spring cleaning and you have old clothes, maybe give them to a thrift store or give them to people you know who are going to wear them, and try to shop at thrift stores, because when you take clothes, they've been worn by someone else before, then they're not only cheaper, but it's also, again, helping to save the earth. Another thing you can do is have garage or yard sales. And also shop at these. They often have really good discounts. So you can definitely do a lot to save money just by shopping at thrift stores or getting discounts or looking at coupons. They're all great ways. And then other things. Maybe instead of buying cards from the store, you could make your own and draw them, and it would show someone that you really cared enough to do it by hand. And then another thing is, don't buy based on brand names, because some brands might be more expensive than others. Does anyone know like a really expensive brand?
Guess. Say guess. Guess. Say it.
So
say it, Maddie.
Maybe some, like if you ever go to a store and you're looking and you're like, why is this $50 and this thing is only $20? And okay, so maybe not quite that dramatic, but a lot of brand names ones like Calvin Klein or Ralph Lauren or Dior or Guess or any of these really expensive brands, they'll make their clothes more expensive, not necessarily because they're better, but just because it has a brand name all over it. So don't buy based on that, even though it's kind of cool to go walking around in your Dior jacket or something, because people might think that, oh, it's expensive or it's cool. You shouldn't buy based on brand names. And so if you have a skirt that's from Sylvia Skirts, I just made that up, and it costs $5, you have this one that's not really a fancy brand, that's $2, but they're both pretty much the same, then go with one that's cheaper, as long as it's the same quality. And then, when shopping, compare unit prices. So a unit price is how much you'll pay for a certain amount of a product. So let's say, for example, yes? I'm sorry?
No, we didn't say anything.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, that keeps on happening. I think it might be just the feedback or something.
Sorry, yeah.
No problem, that's not your problem at all. So unit price is just how much you'll pay for a certain amount of an item. So I'm going to grab something over here. So for instance, so this is just sort of random. This is randomly lying around. It's sort of a bucket with stuff in it, and this is a little box, which is super dusty. So I have this box and I have this bucket. Now, if they're both filled up with, let's say they're both filled up with sugar, and this one costs $2, and this one also costs $2. So this one has sugar all the way up to here, and this one also has sugar all the way up to here. So which one do you think will be the better price? This one's $2, and this one's also $2.
The bigger one, the basket.
The bigger one?
The bigger one?
Marco, say.
Okay, so which one is the bigger one? The basket. Yeah, so if they're both the same price, but you notice that one is smaller, and it is smaller because it's the same, about almost the same height, but it's not quite as wide. So you know that this one is the better price. Now, and so that's not always true. The bigger one is not always the better price. Sometimes you might pay a better price than a small one, but sometimes you can get pretty good discounts if you buy, let's say, a huge sack of flour instead of a little tiny bit, then you might be able to get a better price. So unit price is essentially that. You look at two different products, and maybe they're different sizes, but they're both the same price, or you look at products that are different sizes and different prices. So, for instance, one can of beans weighs 4 ounces, and another can of beans weighs 8 ounces. The 4-ounce can of beans costs $1, so I'll put right here $1, and the 8-ounce can of beans costs $1.50. So which one do you think is cheaper? Not necessarily, oh, $1 cheaper and $1.50, but rather which one is the best buy for its size? So this one's smaller than the 8-ounce one. This one's 4 ounces and this one's 8 ounces. This costs $1 and this costs $1.50. Anyone want to guess which one would be the better buy and why?
The bigger one?
The bigger one? Okay, so why would the bigger one be the better buy?
Because it's bigger.
Because it's big.
Because it's big, that's one thing. But also if you look at, so yeah, it's 8 ounces and the other one is 4 ounces. But if you look at it, if you think 8 ounces is twice as much as 4 ounces. 4 plus 4 equals 8, or 4 times 2 equals 8. So it's twice as big. This one is only half as big, but if each one's price per ounce was exactly the same, then this one would be $2 and this one would be $1, and that one would be equal. But it's double the size, but not quite double the price. So with unit price, we can tell how much does it cost for each ounce of beans. And in this case, the bigger one is the better buy because it's $1.50 instead of $2, which would be what it was if it were exactly double in price. So kind of a tricky concept to learn, but it's, if you just think about it from the point of view of the bucket and this, if you think about it, then it's kind of a similar thing up here, only they're different prices. So you just want to think, well, what's the better buy per ounce? If one costs this much per ounce and the other one costs this much per ounce, then I should go with the one that's cheaper per ounce. So a little bit confusing if you haven't done too much shopping yet, but once you start shopping for things like cans of beans or cereal, and you start to look, oh, this one's this many ounces and that one's this many ounces and this is how much it costs, then it becomes a lot more useful. Okay, and our final activity is going to be needs versus wants. So does anyone want to tell me what a need is?
Tell her what a need is. Go, Marcos.
A need is shelter, clothes, and food.
Shelter, clothes, food. Perfect. Now what are some wants? What are some things you want, but not necessarily need?
Okay, Alex, speak loud.
A want is earring.
Earrings? Very
He
good.
said earrings.
Okay. What else? What else is really want?
Hamster,
Hamster?
bracelets, toys, computer, bracelets, computer,
Madeline?
Pets, okay. I wrote it down. Yep. And
Angela?
one more one.
bracelets,
A bracelet? Oh, I did write down bracelet. Actually, right?
Evelyn?
Necklace? Okay. So, what is something that we notice in common with some of the ones that we listed? What do some of these have in common?
They're all jewelry.
Not quite all
They're
of them,
jewelry.
but some of them are jewelry. Yes, a lot of them are actually. I was hesitant. So we see bracelets, that's jewelry. We see necklaces, jewelry. Earrings is jewelry. We also see a lot of pets. So like a hamster, pets, and then also laptop, computer, and toys. So things that you cannot live without would be needs. So let's investigate over here clothes a little more in detail. What kind of clothing might be a need and what kind of clothing might be a want? Because there might be a difference between a coat that you really need to stay warm and the $100 brand name jeans.